Still to come this morning, was Miss wrong to pose in a thong? The PE teacher, come wannabe model, who's in trouble after pupils found pics of her in lingerie on the net. 0207 173 5555 is the number for your thoughts. Is she mad to think she can strike provocative poses in her spare time and still control of teenage boys? I wouldn't mind her keeping control of me. Certainly a slightly more encouraging prospect than Father Richens. Anyway.
So how many people watched PE teacher Natasha Gray crowned Britain's sexiest female teacher on ITV? The answer is 3 million.
So when I was reading about her being Britain's sexiest teacher, I thought it was some daft internet poll, but Britain's sexiest teacher was screened by ITV in 2002 and was presented by those guardians of modern morality, Kerry Katona and Beppe from EastEnders. No wonder their share price has gone through the floor. Anyway, first, though, was Miss wrong to pose in a thong? This teacher, Natasha Gray, is facing disciplinary action after pupils found revealing pictures of her on the internet. She is a part-time model as well, you see. I say revealing snaps, but the ones you can see there are pretty bog-standard lingerie shots, like the ones you'd find in a mail-order catalogue, I suppose. They're certainly a lot less revealing than page 3 of The Sun, which is, and remains, Britain's biggest-selling daily paper. The question ultimately is whether Miss Gray, who's head of PE and dance at Manor Community College in Cambridge, can be an effective teacher while working part-time as a model. Headmaster Ben Slade, he said he was disappointed in Gray, who won the title of Britain's best sexiest teacher the week before she started at the school, some 7 years ago. We have clearly defined policies on how staff should present themselves both in and out of school, he said. But it wasn't as if no one knew what Miss was getting up to in her private life, was it? 3 million people were watching telly. What if pupils had found snaps of her sunbathing topless on holiday on the net? I mean, far more provocative, you might argue, but worthy of addressing down? Don't think so. So what are parents objecting to? That Miss can't be a figure of respect if she's modelling as well? Tell that to Carla Bruni, model and now international stateswoman. Maybe some jobs, particularly in the public sector, require, I don't know, whiter-than-white private lives. No pole dancing for fun. No membership of the BNP, whatever. I suppose the ultimate test must be whether your hobby or interest will interfere with your ability to do your job. Can you still be a good teacher when teenage boys have seen you posing in a thong? I know you pose in a thong all the time, Dominic, but I'm going to go to Alice first, actually.
Twang. I think the problem is not that these are beautiful, creative photographs. I think they're come hither. I think they're sexy.
Provocative.
Provocative, absolutely. I think she's saying she looks like a cool girl in them. I'm very sorry, but no, she does. She's got a thong so far up her bottom she can't. You know, I'm sorry.
She doesn't look like the girls in the cards in the phone boxes that I, you know, occasionally notice as I wander through town. They are provocative, cool girl cards, and she doesn't look like those.
I think there's a fine line, and I think if she wanted to be a model, a creative photography model, or even just a clothing model, I think that's different. I think these are provocative. I think they are. And I don't think that sits comfortably, especially not in that thong, with 14-year-olds teaching 14-year-olds. She can't do it. It's not acceptable. Sorry.
If she had a hobby as a pole dancer?
Even worse, I would imagine.
Yes, even worse.
Speaking as a boy who was at school when my hormones kicked in, I fancied perhaps half my female teachers anyway. All the kids at that girl's school are going to be fantasising about that young woman. Anyway.
With or without the pictures?
Absolutely, without the pictures. But I would say I do think it's unbecoming, and I don't think they're particularly compatible hobby and career.
But 3 million people are happy to look at, watch and enjoy Britain's sexiest teacher.
You just said The Sun is the biggest selling newspaper. I mean, would you be OK if she was a page 3 girl?
I don't know, because what I'm worried about here is we have an enormous amount of young women whose sole aim in life is to become a model, because society and the media has elevated model to you know something that everybody wants to be, and successfully. And then we're turning around with somebody who is a model, who's won a competition that was on mainstream terrestrial television. And then we're turning around saying, actually, young children should look at this. This is a woman who's managed to be both a teacher, therefore has got a decent education behind her, is no fool, who also has an interest in modelling.
Well, the better question might be, is that a good aspiration for all our young girls to want to be models.
It would be
Well, look
different
at
as
Lily
well if she
Cole.
wanted to leave teaching and become a model,
Yes.
but she seems to have the idea that she can keep these two careers running at the same
Why
side.
can't she?
Because you can't. Because
Well, OK, so what if someone's
being a teacher
someone's
is
on
one
holiday?
of those jobs that requires you to just
Right.
have.
What if someone's on holiday, right, and Miss is on that same holiday, right? They're in the same beach. I've actually been on a holiday and met people from my school. It's possible. And they then get photographs of Miss lying sunbathing topless on the beach. Does she lose her job
Very
for
different.
that?
Very different.
What's different
Yeah.
about
Because
that?
it invaded her privacy.
Yeah, and
On the
it isn't glamorised and it's not come hither, as Alice said. I mean, they are provocative pictures.
What would be an interesting
She's a
debate
model.
is...
That's the whole point
No,
of the
she's
pictures.
not.
not.
She's a teacher.
She's a model as well.
Listen, if she had been...
Earns money from it.
If she'd been posing naked, full frontal, for Lucian Freud, for his picture
Yeah.
that sold for $33
Yeah.
million
Go on.
and had a full voluptuous body, she wouldn't have been being criticised. Look at that benefits supervisor and that glorious oil painting.
Benefit supervisor wasn't teaching kids.
No, but a civil servant.
Well, that's the,
Posing
that's the
naked.
other question is,
Posted all
does
over the
certain
world.
jobs require certain standards of behaviour? We know, for example, the police aren't allowed to join the BNP. I don't know what the role is for PE teachers, whether they can. I don't know. I find it peculiar. It just feels to me like double standards. On the one hand, modelling is a legitimate career. Kate Moss is a multimillionaire. Jordan is a multimillionaire. Carla Bruni is now a world statesman on the global page and multimillionaire.
She's married to one. She
Yeah,
isn't a
but
statesman.
oh, right. So
herself.
you don't think she's going to be rolled out in Strasbourg as a major part on the political stage? I promise you she will be. That's why she's being held back from this one.
But I think Alice is right. A teacher is different. For a start, they're teaching and looking after our kids, and she is encouraging the sexual objectification.
So the
of
girls, it's a
teachers.
mixed school. So girls turn up and say, Miss, we want to be a model like you. And she can turn around and say, well, actually, you know, I'm interested in modelling. I do it part-time, and I'm much more interested in education, in producing fit, healthy children out of school. She can actually talk to the kids.
Yeah, but again,
She's not
Matthew-
saying that in those photographs.
And is that
In your
again, is that a good
fantasies.
aspiration for our young girls to want to be models?
I'll
no, it's
I'll
not.
say again, why not? You know, there's some real snobbery about it, and yet you look at the facts sake for themselves. Modelling is big business for the women that get involved in it. Some of them are multi-millionaires and international
let's just
figures.
go
Because they're paid by big clothes houses. There's modelling for advertising
Yeah.
clothes, or there's modelling for come get me, come hither, as I
Yeah.
said. And I
The
think that's
glamour
what
end.
she's doing. She's doing the latter. And I don't think that sits comfortably with a teacher. I think, yes, there's a place in the sun, obviously.
Okay, so
And
one
talking
last
about the most
question,
famous-
one last question. The school was aware that she had just won the title of Britain's sexiest teacher the week before she started, and here we are, over 6 years down the line, and they're kicking up about it.
Well, when were those pictures taken? Were they taken
Well, it's
recently?
irrelevant. She was already opposed and won the
I mean,
title Britain's
yeah.
sexiest teacher. I mean,
They
you
don't
can't
really have
then
a leg
expect-
to stand on.
I mean,
I think the whole competition is
no,
ridiculous.
they don't. But I mean, and ITV should be severely cautioned about having anything to do with Britain's sexiest teacher.
Right,
I mean,
but they
what a
knew about that. They let her in the school, and then 6 years
Yes.
down the line, we're talking
They
about
should
what
have
else.
they should have discussed
Right.
it with her then. Absolutely.
Okay.
But our most famous model, Jordan, Matthew, is she a good role model to our young girls at school?
According to Piers Morgan's life stories, yes, she is.
According to you?
Yeah, no, according to me, no. But there we go. That doesn't mean that I'm right. Let's hear what you have to say about Miss in the Thong. Was she wrong? Take the boy out of Fleet Street. Amy, what do people say?
Our first call is Layla on line 1.